Good evening or good morning whenever you get to watch this. I thought I'd start off today or end the night with reading to you guys the true story of the Three Little Pigs. And so if you know the Three Little Pigs, if you know the original story, then we can do some compare and contrast. So by the time we're done, let's see if we can figure out what's the same and what's different about the two stories. I really do like this story. It has a little dedication page. It says to Jerry and Molly. It says, everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But let me tell you in a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. So what we have to do is think about who would be telling this side of the story. Well, who tells the other side of the story is the pigs. So this side of the story must be the wolf. I'm the wolf. Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Isn't that funny how the author's actually talking to you? So he's actually saying, look, if we all thought cheeseburgers were cute, they will think we were like mean because we're eating them. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Now look what the author did here. So isn't that neat how the author did that with the letters? So it's her own little take on it. So it makes it interesting. Way back, once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbors for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk in someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. And I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. Now, it seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. So can you think of any differences right now between the two stories? Because I can definitely tell the story that I read, the wolf has never eaten the pigs. So here's something definitely different. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next door neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the second house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." There's something that's the same. So that chinny chin chin, they say that a lot in the original story. So there's a comparison. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo! And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doorknob. Wolf's honor. What does that mean, Wolf's honor? That means he's saying he's telling the truth. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family, because he had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick door. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Well, talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Achoo! Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Well, now, I'm usually a pretty calm fella, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. And the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. That's it for tonight, guys. So hopefully you'll talk about what's the same in the two books and what's different, and possibly tomorrow maybe I'll have a chance to read another fractured fairy tale. And so a fractured fairy tale means it's just like a real fairy tale, except there's a different side to it, or it changes a little bit. So I'm excited to keep reading to you. So have a nice night or a nice morning, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.